New tutorial over here. This rope comes with 2 sleeves with the belt, and you see it is overlap. Okay, so this is the length of it. You are welcome to my channel once again. In today's tutorial, we are making this bridal rope. Some people call it morning coat. So if you're interested in the process or how I made it, then please let's continue. Let me show you. So let's get started. Materials needed are satin fabric, pattern paper, long rule, marker, scissors, pins, thread, and tailor's chalk. So the measurements, we are using only 2 measurements. That will be our hip measurement and the length of the rope. How long or how short you want, that is the length. So the measurements for the hip I'm using today is 42 inches. Okay, and then the length or how long I want my rope is 41 inches. So let's begin drafting our pattern. To begin with, we are leaving 4 inches in front of our pattern, and this 4 inches is going to serve as the overlap, which would help our rope to cover in between our tight or our skin. Okay, so you take your 4 inches like this, you bring out your long rule, and then you straight it. Okay, mark it straight or join the dots throughout as you dot them as you mark the 4 inches. Just join all the dots to where you mark your shoulder length. Now we are taking our measurement. So we are still maintaining the hip measurement, but to make that, okay, we are going to measure from our shoulder length to the waist. Okay, that's 50 inches from that straight line we took from the beginning, and then from that same straight line to the hip line is 25, and the length. Okay, so let me show you the next thing. We are going to get our neckline. To measure your neckline, you have to input your shoulder length, that is 8 inches. After you have put in your 8 inches there, we are going to mark 4 inches again. So to get that 4 inches, that's why we are going to input our neckline. The back neckline, we need a slope. Okay, a slope. To mark your shoulder slope, where you mark the 8 inches, please measure 1 inches down and connect it as you've seen in the video, and bring your tape measure. Come and mark 1 inches to 1.5 inches depending on the depth that you want. I'm using 1 inches here. Then I mark it or connect it from the 4 inches place to my neckline. Then from that place, you will need your sleeve measurement, but this is a free sleeve measurement, so this place you don't even have to bother. So I just input 8 inches over there, and now I am putting in my hip measurement divided by 4. So the hip measurement was 42 inches divided by 4. I had 10.5. Then you connect from the beginning of where your length is to where your sleeve is. Okay, so this is all for the pattern or the first pattern. The back is what we have done now. So let me mark out or cut it out and show you how we are going to do again. Where we marked our sleeve allowance or the armhole measurement, you are going to divide it into 2. So 8 divided into 2 is 4. Then where you have divided, you take ½ inch or 0.5 inch inside, and then you connect from the first one to the end like this, as you can see in the video. Then you are going to use your cutting scissors to cut out this pattern nicely. Let's cut the back neckline, and then to after you are done cutting the back neckline, we want to notch where we make the sleeve, okay, the armhole area. Notch that place so that when we are doing the back neckline or we are putting it on our fabric, we will be able to notify or identify that place. So we are done. The front look like a V shape, okay? So to get the V shape neckline, you have to measure 10 to 12 inches from where the 4 inches allowance is. Then you join it to the very end of your neckline or the back neckline like this. So this how the front pattern neckline will look like. Then you will join from that neckline to the allowance or the 4 inches overlap allowance we left this way to the end of it. Then you cut out the excess of it, and then that will be all for the front pattern too. To cut the excess, okay, you are going to cut from where it is slanted. Where it is slanted, you see the overlap is only at the length or at the bottom of the dress. So this is it. This is how it should look like. So we've gotten on the same pattern, we have the front and the back. So let me show you how we are going to cut it on our fabric. When you want to cut on the fabric, this is how you are going to put it on your pattern or your fabric like this. The back and the front, you are going to just fold the back pattern inside or the back pattern neckline inside. Then you open up the allowance, okay, like this, and you cut the front pattern too on your fabric. So please let me cut out the sleeve, and then we will begin with our cutting on our main fabric. So here is my sleeve pattern. So to make your sleeve, okay, you are going to measure your armhole. This is a free sleeve, okay? So if the person is fat, you just have to make sure it is big enough. So here I am measuring 3 inches down. You see it is folded into two. Then I mark it this way down, and then just on the button I dot it out this way. I shape it out, and then that's all for my sleeve. Just the armhole area. For the length, as I said, it will depend on you. If you want it long, you decide it. So at the bottom of it, I am just marking 10.5, 10.5, 10.5. Then I join and I cut it out. So let's begin with the main project. Bring your fabric out. I am using about 2.5 yards to 3 yards of fabric, okay? I'm just making it for a size large, 10 to 12 size. But if the person is plump or fat, then you are going to use 3.5 yards, okay? And if the person is small, even just 1.5 yards will be enough. So please, you take note of that. I have measured 4 inches I am cutting it out. I've cut it out this way. I'm going to use this long rope for piping out the front, okay, the front pattern of it. So I have to cut it out before I short off fabric. I don't want to do it cut and join. Then now we want to put on our front pattern. We pin it this way, then we cut out. Please, it should be on fold, okay? Make sure your fabric is on fold before you put your pattern paper on it. Make sure where the armhole measurement is, you notch that place. You notch that place. The reason why I am not leaving seam allowance is because when I was taking my hip measurements, if you watch carefully, I added extra 1 inch for my seam allowance, okay? So please, if you just took yours without leaving seam allowance, then as you are cutting on the main fabric, you would want to leave seam allowance because you don't want to find yourself wanting when you are sewing. So do so. And then at the bottom of it, because I want it slanted, I went into slant it, or I went in with my tailor's chalk to mark it out before I cut the bottom of it this way. Then at the end of it too, when I was measuring the length measurement, I already added extra 2 inches for me to fold it in to make the edge nicely. So please, if you didn't consider all this, when you are cutting on your fabric, you make sure that you add your seam allowance. If not, before you finish, the length will be shorter than your expectation. So that's what I want to do. We are done with the front pattern cutting. Now we want to unfold again and then cut out our back pattern. So to cut your back pattern, always remember I told you where the armhole sleeve is. When you get there, do your notch that place, and then cut it out, and that is all for the back too. This is what I'm talking about, the notch area. Good. Then let me open it for you to see how the back looks like. So when you open it, this is how the back should look like. You see, because it is on fold, or you folded your fabric into two. The sleeve is also two. And then I will put it on the sleeve pattern that we made, leaving about 2 to 3 inches behind. Leaving about 2 inches behind, because if you look at the rope, there is cut and join. Okay, we cut some of the fabric and we joined it to the sleeve to get that design. That's how you have to make it. You leave the space 2 to 3 inches, and then you cut it on another fabric and you join it to it. So when we are doing it, you get to understand it better. Now cut out your sleeve, and then let's continue. So bring all those things that we have cut, okay? So here I am putting my back materials down. Then on the shining parts of it, I am putting the shining parts of the front pattern too on it. So it means the wrong part will be facing you, and the back to the wrong part will be down. Okay, so here is it. I've pinned it, and look at how beautiful our rope looks like. We've not even started sewing it, but you can see that the shape or the design is exactly what we have gotten. Then you mark, or you go and sew from the shoulder 1/2 inch, and then around it, okay, that one to half inch, because I left only 1 inches allowance. That is what I am going to sew. So after sewing it, this is what I mean. Don't sew where the armhole is. That's why the notch is there to guide you not to sew where the armhole area is. So look at the other side of it. You see where I begin sewing. I had just right after where the notch is. Then I sew to the very end and I double stitch again. And now we want to attach our the front panel, okay, or around where we have sewn, okay. Measure all round throughout that rough edge in front of your rope. Measure, and then depending on the measurements you get, then you use it to cut 4 inches by the normal of measurements you have gotten. So that was what I did at first. This is me measuring mine to confirm the number I had will be suitable for the measurements or the fabric I cut at first. So it's okay. Now we want to find the middle part of our rope this way before we can attach our long rope that we cut. So you fold it this way, and then you fold your rope into two this way, iron it neatly, and then both at the middle part of it you attach the rough edges, okay. You attach it this way. So let me show you, or look carefully at what I'm saying. So the shining part facing the shining part of your rope. With your pins, please try to pin it to the very end and be sure that you have consumed all the parts of your fabric before you proceed to sew. Make sure that you have considered that, or you have make sure you've seen that the rope that you have cut was able to cover all round your rope. You don't want any dirty work. So I'm done, and I want to sew half inch from the beginning to the end. So just half inch of it. After cut the extra excess material fabric left, okay, cut it off, then look at what you should get. This is how it should look like after attaching the rope to the front. Now we want to attach our sleeve. As I told you, it is cut and join. So you cut the length by 4 inches. You fold it into two again. You attach it with your sleeve, or to your sleeve this way. Please repeat the same for both. Then we are going to sew half inch like this. Now we are done sewing it. Fold your sleeve into two this way. Then mark out your armhole measurement on it. So the armhole measurement, you can repeat the same measurement at the bottom of it. It's a free sleeve. So we want to fold or make sure that the end of it is also neat. Okay, so to make your length neat, you are going to mark 1.5 inches. You are going to mark 1.5 inches. After marking your 1.5 inches at the length or at the bottom of your rope, you are going to fold quarter or half inch into it this way. Then you flip it again. Make sure as you flip, it should be on the line that you mark 1.5. Make sure that the flipping will be on your 1.5. It shouldn't extend or exceed that line that we measure 1.5. Okay, yes, fold it on. You just take half to one quarter to half inch, then you flip it. Then this is how it should look like. We send it to our sewing machine, and let me show you a very neat edge. Okay, that's how my work look like, and I know that's how yours will also look like. We are done, almost done with our rope. So we want to attach our sleeve. Okay, as I told you initially, I measured 8 inches for the sleeve, but we want the sleeve to be bigger than the person normal measurement or armhole measurement. Okay, this is a rope, but I use the normal dress fitting dress measurement. So to get the free armhole measurement, I went ahead to put the sleeve on it, and I shape it and I cut it out. So I'll fix the first one. Let me fix the second one or show you how you can also attach your sleeve to your rope. So at the bottom of it, you are going to notch that area, the folded area. Okay, so you do it this way, and then let me show you. Open your sleeve this your rope this way, and where you've notched, okay, please make sure it is aligned with your shoulder slope or the seam at your shoulder, the shoulder of your rope. Make sure that that notch you did matches or align with it, and then at the bottom of it too, or the seam that it is around your sleeve. Okay, make sure it also aligns or matches with the side seam of your rope. So after both of them align, then you begin to pin the side and side of it this way. So you even notice that you've not finished pinning it, but the moment you're able to connect from your shoulder to the armhole, the down armhole that aligns with your seam allowance of the main rope, you realize that it fits perfectly. So let me show you. You see, we've not sewn it yet, but you will realize that it's okay. Then we are going to start sewing from the armhole area or the down part of the sleeve. Okay, you sew it from that place round to the other end of the same place again. So watch carefully what I'm doing. After sewing, you should get something like this. Everything should be in place, aligned this way. Okay, so that is that. We want to make belts for our rope. To make your belt, you are going to measure your waist measurement, and you add extra inches length to waist so that you can wrap it or tie it around your waist area, which here I use 60 inches length and 4 inches width. And to make your belt, you are going to fold it into two, making sure that the right or the neater part of your fabric is inside and the wrong part is where we are sewing. When you are sewing, you want to leave 2 inches allowance in between your belt. Okay, we are going to turn the outside out, so we are going to bring the nicer part outside through that 2 inches allowance that we left. So let me show you how or what I am talking about. Okay, so you see now our 2 inches allowance is where we are going to turn our fabric. So yes, and then the other end too, with the help of your scissors or anything, you just flip it inside so that the wrong will be in and the right will be outside. So we are done, and we are going to stitch the 2 inches allowance we left. We are going to stitch it together. Then we go to our ironing board, get our work iron. So please, you've gotten to this part of this video. What do you think about the video? Was it detailed enough? If it is yes, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to, when I upload video, I show every aspect of it without leaving anything behind. Leave a comment in the comment section for me if you find value. Thank you for passing by. See you in my next video. Bye. And last thing, please, I don't have a needling machine. That's why I didn't needle my work, so I'll be sending it to Neatly. So please, you have to do so. And this is our final work. That's our final work. Thanks.